Simon is obviously the hardest challenge in the game, and one of the best boss designs ever made in a Souls-like. In fact, I have no doubt he's an intentional tribute to Artorias from the first Dark Souls. He's a different kind of challenge. Unlike taking on Golgra early, which took me nearly an hour at level 37, this dude is the real test. With my team at around level 80, I thought I'd take him on solo with parries only, because why not solo a boss with 3 phases, 18 hit combos that one-shots my characters? Yeah, let's give it a go. I'll explain the encounter, my setup, Lumina Powers, weapons, Pictos, and where to get them, then we'll see the fight. Simon deletes dead characters. He dusts them, so you can't revive them if he gets a turn. He has 3 phases, and between the second and third phase, there's a mandatory death where he deletes the team in front of him. So to solo him, you need at least 2 characters. I used Verso and Mael. His first phase is significantly easier than the rest. He has a couple of sword combos and a unique fist combo that only exists in this phase. His second phase is a second fight altogether with a new, bigger health bar, and he now has a green phantom sword that hits a second time after all his sword combos from phase 1. Plus a couple of new combos that don't have the green sword. When he goes down to about a third of his health bar, he kills everyone and forces you to fight with the backup team. And now the sword is red and it hits twice after the same sword combos from phase 1 and 2. So his 6-hit combo from phase 1 becomes a 12-hit combo in phase 2 and 18 hits in phase 3. He will reduce your character's health to 1 as soon as he can, and he will also steal any shields you have and put them on himself. For the timing of the parries, it's obviously easiest to watch the fight at the end and see when I press the buttons on the controller. My characters weren't leveled high enough, so my damage could have been better, and I tried to counter that by using the best possible Lumina Powers I could find. I'll show you that in a second, but first an important clarification about the team setup. Because he forces you to play with the bench team at the start of phase 3, and given that I want to solo him, that means I at least need 2 characters, 1 in and 1 on the bench. If I just select 1 character to be in the first team and he deletes them in phase 3, the game will send in 3 out of the 4 remaining ones. So I'm not sure here how it will select the team. I want to make sure the characters are Verso and Mael. So to counter that, I pick 2 characters for my first team. So when they're both dead at the end of phase 2, there's only 3 left. That way I can guarantee having Mael in the second team. And because I want to go solo, I put auto death on all my other characters. Now let me show you the build in case you're crazy enough to try and do this. Let's start with the weapons. Verso is using Drim Miso. Because I'm not attacking and I can't rank up, this weapon allows me to rank up when I counter. And that's great. And it also increases counter damage, which is perfect for this purpose. And I don't really care much about the AP. The weapon scales with agility and luck, so I dumped all my points to max agility and luck, then the rest in might to get as much damage as possible out of the weapon. And that puts him at 9.5k attack power. You can get this weapon from the Clair Obscur boss in the Tainted Lumiere part of the Monolith, near the end of the game. And it will be level 15, so you obviously need to max it out. For Mael, I'm using Jarum, which switches her to Virtuo stance when she counters. That's great for this challenge, as I'm only skipping my turn, so that's a perfect way to keep going into this stance. Unlike Medallum, for example, which will put her in that stance at the start, but as soon as I skip my turn, I'll lose it. It also applies 5 burn when I counter, and I'm using Mael as my second character. This means she will deal with phase 3, and I need all the help I can get in that phase, so I don't mind applying a burn when I counter. The last ability here is useless as it increases damage per shield, and we cannot have shields in this fight as I mentioned earlier. The weapon scales with defense and luck, so the same idea here. I maxed out luck and defense, and pumped the rest in might, and now she's at 8.5k attack power. You can get this weapon from the Chromatic Jar, which is an open world boss. You can find him here on the map. I was around level 80 and he was no challenge at all, so it's pretty easy to get this weapon. Obviously this will also be a low level 13, so you'll need to max it out too. Abilities don't really matter as I'm not attacking at all, so let's look at the Pictos and Lumina Powers. For Verso, I only have second chance as it boosted my crit a little bit, and I was using it to keep playing when I was learning the fight. It puts him at a reasonable 56% crit, which is technically 100% as you will see later, which is made easy by the fact that my weapon scales with luck, so I already pumped luck to the max. For Mael, mostly the same idea here. I was boosting her crit and her weapon also scales with luck, so it wasn't hard to get her to 91% with this 32% bonus. But this Lumina power is obviously pretty important for the encounter. Empowering Parry boosts my damage by 5% with each successful parry. I'm trying to never fail at parry, and it's even better as it goes away at the end of your next turn. So if you don't get a turn, the more damage you can stack. Now for the Lumina powers. Let's sort it by active. At Death's Door is key. That's 50% damage buff when health is below 10%. Your health will stay at 1 HP for nearly the whole fight, so that's a perma buff. You can get this Picto very early in the game from the Lamp Master in Stonewave Cliffs. Augmented counter 1, 2, and 3, those are bread and butter, and they do stack, so that's 150% more damage to our counters, and that's the only source of damage. Confident Fighter is important as it's a perma buff that gives you 30% more damage. We're not getting healed at all, so we keep this the whole fight. Critical Moment helps us cap crit, as we'll be at 1 HP for the majority of the fight with Verso. Empowering Last Stand is a big deal. That will give us powerful from the start, as we're fighting solo. This one comes from Tiny Head at the Hidden Gestural Arena. Empowering Parry is also a big deal as we discussed. Simon's attacks are all multi-hit combos with 8, 10, 12 or 18 hits, so parrying all of them adds up a good chunk of damage on your counter hit. You can get this Picto from a vendor in Flying Manor. First offensive is pretty important. It means your first hit will hit for 50% more damage. So that will apply twice to Verso because phase 1 and 2 are considered separate fights, and once for Mael when she starts phase 3. Glass Cannon is a no-brainer. We just deal 25% more damage. You can get this in Visages or buy it from a vendor at Sacred River. Immaculate 2, we're planning to not get hit, so we keep this 30% damage buff. We get that one from the same place too. Painted Power obviously to break the damage cap. Perilous Parry is great because with the amount of parries we're doing, we'll be maxed out on AP. Not that we need it, but it's good to have for the next one, Powered Attack, which can consume 1 AP on every hit to buff it by 20%. Roulette is both annoying and very important here. The reason for me to use it is that I really don't want to spend much time in phase 3. I'm relying on both Mael hitting him hard with her first offensive hit, then after the counter she goes in Virtuose stance and hits even harder for the next counter. But to make the phase shorter, my ideal scenario is that Roulette procs a 200% damage for Verso's last hit in phase 2, which pushes Simon into phase 3 with as low health as possible, so Mael has to deal with less of the Red Sword phase. We'll see if that works. Roulette can be found early in the Gestural Village and later in the Flying Manor. Solo Fighter is pretty useful, as that's another perma 50% damage buff. Solo Fighter can be found in the Hidden Gestural Arena or from the Merchant in Renoir's drafts. For Mael, it's more or less the same. In fact, she has Augmented First Strike, which increases the damage of the first hit by 50%, warming up, which adds 5% damage every turn up to 25%. Longer Powerful, which keeps Powerful up for 2 more turns, and Greater Powerful, which increases the damage of Powerful by 15%. All of which I forgot to put on Verso. One last thing here about phase 3. He's not as keen in this phase to take my health to 1 HP, so Mael will potentially stay at full health for a while, so I put full strength on her as well. That's the full setup. In my next video, I'll show you how to one-shot Simon with a pretty reliable Mael build, at the same level, around 83. It's pretty flexible, powerful, and reliably nerf-proof in a way, and it can carry you comfortably through the whole game and into New Game Plus. I don't like the trend of one-shot builds where you hit everything for a billion damage, turning the game into a loading screen simulator. I'll link that video above once it's out. I'll leave you with the fight, and please remember to hit the like, subscribe, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the build or if you have other ways to achieve this challenge. I'll see you in the next video.
Not impressed. Just try it. Bring it on. Bring it on. Oh well. Just try it.
Let's dance.